In the spirit of O. Henry Punoff Day, this week's AFM takes a lighthearted lift. A cardboard blimp, a child's ungrounded confidence, and two artists who made magic from the most unlikely materials. Proof that the flimsiest things sometimes float the furthest. It's May 15th, 2026. This is Aloha Friday Motivation number 311. Corrugated dreams and other inflated expectations. Happy Aloha Friday. My son this week asked me to build him a blimp, and his expectations, well, they were sky high. Not a drawing, no, not a pillow, a blimp. Out of cardboard. Functional in the sense that it had to look functional. Windows, gondola, proportions, something he could hold in both hands and believe in completely. He's 6. His standards hover. No one told him they should be lower, and I didn't have the heart to burst his bubble or his blimp. So I pulled out the box cutter, because sometimes you really do have to think inside the box, and I got to work. This was going to be no walk in the park, more like a stroll across corrugated terrain. But this is not a new arrangement in our house. I built water towers, windmills, robot costumes, all out of cardboard. My youngest wore a cardboard Roomba for Halloween because, well, of course he did. It's a thing he loves. The same kid who recently handed me a picture of an iRobot Bravajet and said, by name, that he needed one. Now, I was also mid-blimp when he told me that. And yes, one of those was made. I did not ask questions. I don't ask questions anymore because you don't argue with a 4 or 6-year-old who knows the exact model number of a robot mop or that he wants a Goodyear blimp. That's not a carpet I'm willing to die on, or vacuum on for that matter. The blimp, though, was the biggest build yet, nearly 3 feet long. I started with a small scale model because you always build the model first, then scaled up. Layers of corrugated strips, curved and laminated, a gondola with actual windows, a tail fin with the Amazon Prime logo because that's where the cardboard came from, and because, well, I work there, and because I'm apparently a prime delivery system for whatever my kids need built at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. And here's what I've learned about building things with a child watching. They will roast your work until the moment it becomes recognizable. At the onset, just strips and geometry and a vague intention, they will tell you it looks wrong, dead wrong. It doesn't look like a blimp, Dad. They wander off, they come back, squint at it, and suddenly want to help cut strips. They start seeing it coming together vaguely. They ask if it's done yet approximately every 4 minutes. They are the quality control department, and business is brutal. Even tougher when the blimp is all bones and no skin, and I'm a skeleton crew. And then the shape emerges. You can see it coming out of the clouds. You can feel the moment it becomes the thing. Their eyes do something I don't have a word for, worth every strip of cardboard. And there's a funny thing about building something out of cardboard. You start to realize it's less about how long it lasts and more about what it lifts. The whole project becomes a study in temporary architecture, flimsy on purpose, sturdy in spirit. And once you reach that altitude of thinking, you can't help drifting toward the legends who turned scraps, rhythms, felt, foam, and whatever was handy into something that floated far beyond its materials. Bob Marley died 4 days ago, May 11th, 1981. He was 36. He made music out of the most available materials imaginable. Rhythm, repetition, a message so elemental it could have been dismissed and wasn't. The man had a natural mystic about him, I'd say. Jim Henson dies tomorrow, May 16th, 1990. He built Kermit out of a ping pong ball and his mother's old coat. Entire worlds from things that weren't supposed to last. Foam, felt, wire, whatever was handy. The whole thing was felt. He once said, the most sophisticated people I know, inside they're all children. I think about that every time I pick up a box cutter. It's not easy being green, but it felt right. Here's the thing about cardboard. It is not a permanent medium. The blimp will not last a good year. None of it lasts. That is not a problem to solve, though. That's the whole point. The making is the memory. The look on my son's face when the hole rounds into shape and suddenly, unmistakably, it's a blimp. That doesn't live in the object. It lives in him, and it lives in me. Marley made music that outlasted him by decades. Henson stitched together characters out of scraps and gave them souls somehow more real than most people I met. My kid asked me for a blimp, and I made him a blimp. So make the thing, even if it's flimsy, even if it's cardboard, even if the idea feels paper thin, especially then. And this week's sign off, Amber by 311 for edition number 311. It seemed only right. And here's a weekend nudge. No one likes to be shit on, but here goes anyway. This weekend, you should find the inner child, fire up that glue gun, and finally answer the question, why are there so many songs about rainbows? Mahalo nui. Until next week, this is Matthew.